All right, well, let's kick this off. Hello and welcome to the Roundabout Podcast. This is episode 55. My name is Austin Sudduth. With me, I always have a Michael Levine, a Hunter Brittle, and a Tyler McClellan. Hello, gentlemen.
Why do they call it a kickoff? Like, who started? Why is it not a send off or a punch off? Why is it a kickoff? Why are we kicking it off?
Well, because kickoff is one of the most famous ways of saying you're starting a sport.
Well, I assume it's football.
Because they kick the ball.
Oh, right.
Right. Like,
I was really wondering if you had
two of the
some
biggest
other
sports.
anecdote there. I was like, are you going to add this isn't a football game, this is a podcast?
Nope, I forgot about sports, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna go ahead and
just
say it
forgot
comes
about
from
sports.
sports.
I'm so stupid. Listen, I had a nap today for the first time in probably months, so I'm going to do my best.
Naps are great. I had a nap too.
You know what's crazy is I would not put it past us as just a society for it to actually be something like you had to kick off a lever to get a train to go back in the 1800s.
Right.
I could see kickoff being something like that.
Yeah.
We thought it's a sports term, but realistically it's not. It's something just obscure.
There are, though I can't think of any, there are a lot of examples of things like that. We still use sayings that really only applied a very long time ago to something specific.
Yeah, like the real McCoy. I don't think the McCoy oil can is still around.
Was that a thing? I thought it was a saying based on Neil McCoy, like the cowboy.
Nope. No, the real McCoy, it was a oil can that apparently at the time was the oil can to use, and that was their catchphrase, the real McCoy.
That's pretty cool. I learned something today. Thank you, Austin.
Yeah. We got a lot of phrases that I have lost meaning over time. Well, I mean, meaning's there, but it's not where it originated from at all.
Well, yeah. So I looked it up in the hopes that maybe we were wrong, and there was, to Austin's point, you were kicking off a train or something. It is definitely from soccer, but we have made mistake number one, which is confusing the meaning. One common mistake is confusing the meaning of kickoff with other similar phrases like start or begin. While they may have similar connotations, kickoff specifically refers to starting a game or event. It is important to use this idiom in the appropriate context. So we've made mistake number one. We did not begin a game.
Well, we started an event.
Is this an event?
Trust me, this is an event for us.
I would call this an event.
God, we have to reschedule it all the time. It's an event.
Real.
So I looked up a few of these types sayings. So here's one that I found interesting. Daylight robbery, which I think I've usually heard as daytime robbery, but it's, often used for outrageous overcharge or an unfair deal or something like that. Basically a robbery out in the open. But apparently it is from a time when in England there was a thing called a window tax, where basically citizens were taxed based on a number of windows in their home. And so a lot of them had to brick up windows in their home to save money on taxes. So they called it daylight robbery because it was literally robbing daylight from them.
What about getting robbed blind?
That one's not on this list. That may be. There may be one.
I've only got a certain amount of these things.
Yeah. So I haven't read through this one yet. Let me read through it, make sure it's a good one. I'll just go for it. We're going to take a chance. So minding your P's and Q's, I'm just reading this off. Now used to remind someone to be on their best behavior. It originally applied to 17th century English taverns. Bartenders needed to keep track of rowdy patrons' pints and quarts of ale, yelling at them to watch their pints and quarts. So mind your P's and Q's. I don't know if that's true. That one feels a little made up. Dead as a doornail.
Why would the internet lie, Tyler?
Well, because it does its thing. I actually remember looking this one up one day at work because somebody asked the question, why do we say that? What does that mean? When somebody said they're dead as something was dead as a doornail. So the popular English idiom dates back to at least 1350. It referred to the costly heavy iron nails used in medieval doors that had to be hammered through and beaten flat on the other side, making them completely unusable. Or unreusable, I guess you should say.
Unserviceable.
And dead. Rule of thumb, commonly used to mean a rough estimate or a practical guideline. One prominent origin theory suggests it traces back to Old English law, which historically limited the size of a man's domestic disciplinary rod. I got to start using that more often.
No, you do not.
To the
No,
width
you
of
do
its
not. No,
thumb.
you do not.
I'm gonna
spare
go
the rod.
go to the store, run to the store, and pick me up a domestic disciplinary rod.
Oh God.
And then last but not least, Saved by the Bell, often linked to grim stories of people being buried with a string attached to an above ground bell. That's not where I thought that was going.
I
in
knew
case
that
they
one.
woke
That
up.
one,
I
yeah.
knew that one. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. It makes sense. I knew that was a thing they used to do, but
Yeah. There was a point in time where it was very common to misdiagnose death.
Well, I didn't know
Yeah,
that's where the
yeah.
saying came from. I knew that was a thing.
that's what I meant. I knew that was a thing. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was where the
no,
saying
those-
came from.
So to rob someone blind is to rob a person as though they were blind and couldn't detect the robbery.
Oh, so it's a stealthy thing.
Okay, so like they don't
Well,
even know.
it's more like it's not so much a stealthy thing as it is like it's like thorough and devastating because there's no fear of detection and no need to act in haste.
Roll for a stealth check.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know. All of this talking like about things that have lost their meaning. It just reminded me. I've had this thought in my head for 2 weeks, and it's a dumb thought. Don't.
Careful,
Like,
I had a friend who
I-
died like that.
I know. It's like I know going into it, I'm gonna be telling on myself, but I had the thought like 2 weeks ago, and it has crept in my mind probably every other day. And it's a dumb thought, and I'm tired of it. But I'm just gonna say it. Has the word gun lost its meaning?
We're
I
gonna
don't
let you give some
know.
additional context. I
Yeah.
think, before we
Yeah,
answer that.
continue with this.
What
thought.
other meaning could gun have?
Okay, what would you say the definition of gun is? Like define gun.
A firearm that
Firearm is exactly
shoots
like
a projectile at rapid pace?
a
Okay.
gunpowder tool that shoots a projectile.
See, and that's my understanding. But water gun exists.
That's still a projectile.
Yeah, I guess
Yeah,
the
but it's not
gunpowder portion
gunpowder.
doesn't matter because the gunpowder's in the ammo, not the gun itself.
And so then the track went, well, it's projectiling. Like there has to be a projectile, right? No, because a massage gun exists.
That's
I
just
think
because it
it's-
looks like a gun.
And so that's where my thought is.
I think the term gun in terms of firearm has not lost its meaning. I think what is happening is in these other terms, it's using it as a form factor, right? Because a water gun looks like a gun, just shoots water. A massage gun, kind of, at least a lot of the ones I have seen, and the one we have, has a pseudo pistol grip.
right.
It becomes more of this like form factor thing, but the gun as a gun is still, I believe, I don't think it's lost its meaning. I think we have started to twist it into a form factor, but
Well, and that's kind of where I've come to the conclusion that like gun doesn't mean gun anymore. Gun means a shape. Like gun is shape now to me. As long as it's in the shape of it, it's gun. But gun as an original meaning, much like all of these idioms, it's changed over the course of time. We've just adapted it to other things, kind of like these phrases.
So I
it's
hate
just
you
a-
for doing this to me twice now because in this one I'm not going to be able to look up. But I feel like there's a million other examples of things like that, but I can't
Right?
think of any offhand.
Right?
So that's twice now already in this episode that this has happened. But yeah, there are definitely other examples like that. Yeah, I think that it's other people playing off the shape of it. It's just such a commonly known thing what a gun is. You hear gun and you picture usually, but a lot of people I feel like picture a pistol, which is why the
that's a
massage
handgun.
guns and
You can't do that one. You got to do something other than a handgun.
Dude, can you give me a massage gun that's shaped like an AK?
Dude.
oh, I bet it exists.
I bet we could make one.
Just double grip.
I bet we could make one.
Just think of how intense that massage would be, where you've got like a butt stock.
Yeah, you got
Just
a butt
up
stock and
against
you're
your
leaning
shoulder.
into that sucker. That's what you're doing.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean, my brain's already going, but basically, you take like a DeWalt Sawzall, you put a shoulder stock on it, and you put like instead of a blade in the end, you put one of the little like massage balls, and you've got a rifle shaped massage gun.
this episode's going to do
Well, and-
so poorly on Twitter. YouTube. Negative numbers on YouTube. We have said
Probably.
all the buzzwords.
Yeah, but Twitter is going to blow up. So
Oh yeah, we're definitely this is getting demonetized.
We're not monetized.
Well, if we were,
You have
boy,
no
would we be
power
screwed.
here, YouTube.
Just to be
Well,
sure, I'm going to say again, domestic disciplinary rod.
yeah,
think that's the
you're
least.
just trying to tank that YouTube rating, but our Instagram is going to be killing it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in terms of algorithm, I don't think it knows anything about the disciplinary rod. But in
That's
terms of your
pre-YouTube's
wife,
time.
that one might be a little touchy.
Yikes.
I don't know. She might be into it, but we're not going to go down that road.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
seems
mean
like
to
just as dangerous
ruin
of a
this
subject.
ruin this thought, but that was
That
just
would do well on
hilarious.
Instagram, though. Make no mistake.
Yeah.
Thank you, Instagram. Very cool.
Thanks for having our back when YouTube doesn't. When Google puts us to the side, Meta has us.
I just ground this episode to a halt with that. I'm sorry.
I don't know. I'm just trying to get, now that I've because I haven't said that dumb thought out loud, but now that I've said it, I'm going through the process of letting it go out of my mind.
It's like nitrous purge. Like you just have to let it out somehow.
I cannot tell you, I wanted to bring it up last week for the podcast. I was like, God, it's such a dumb thought. And I know it's dumb, but it's it fits so well with what we were already talking about. I was like, here's my opportunity. I just got to get it out. It's got to be said.
I'm never going to have this chance again.
This will
Seize
never
the
happen
day,
again.
Austin.
No, I'm not gonna. You were talking, I was like, okay, I gotta wait for a pause. Gotta wait for a pause. I gotta get it out. And then you pause. I was like, and here's this thing I have.
like the germs waiting for the 5-second rule
Basically,
to
yeah.
jump on the food that hit the ground.
Yep.
Well, despite what some of our episodes may have sounded like, this is not a video game podcast. This is not a sports podcast. In fact, many people ask me when I tell them we do a podcast, well, what do you talk about? What are y'all going to talk about today? And every time I say, I don't know, whatever we feel like talking about. But what this is an us podcast. And the 3 of the 4 of us did something this past weekend that I felt like was worth sharing, even though it is part of a video game. So myself, Hunter, and...
we're not a video game podcast, but 3 of us play
But
video
here's this
games.
video
exactly.
game that's based on a sport.
This is
It's a video game on a sport.
This is an us podcast was my point, and it's something we did. Myself, Hunter, and Michael all competed in the virtual 24 hours of Spa on iRacing. But we didn't just stop there. We decided let's push the boundaries of what iRacing allows. So 24 Hour of Spa is a team event. So you have to have a minimum of 2 people to run it, and you swap. Both of those people have to run a certain amount of laps to count. But iRacing also has a maximum number of people that can compete on a team. That number is 16. Well, Hunter Brittle has always had a dream since childhood, since the day he was born, in fact, before iRacing even existed.
Came out the
that
womb.
He wanted to do a 16-man endurance race. And we thought, what better than the Spa 24? So we got to work messaging everybody who would listen, getting together 16 people, 3 of which are in this podcast. And we ran the Spa 24 hours. It was quite an eventful experience. We started it, a little bit of everything started in the rain. The biggest challenge before the race even started was laying out a schedule and making sure all 16 people, not only did it work for their individual schedules, everyone got in the car, met their minimum driver limits, and then we had to cover the rest of the 24 hours with some people only wanting to do an hour, other people wanting to drive 2 or 3 if possible. So that was before the race even started. Then we had to find a car that made everybody happy, to an extent find a setup that made everybody happy, even though we basically just said, this is what we're running, get over it.
Well, you have to. I mean, there's just too many, it's so hard. Planning this race was harder than running it. And that's saying a lot, because that car was a nightmare by the time I got it.
That car was a nightmare. I will also say a huge thanks to assistant GM Hunter Brittle for doing most of the organization of this one.
Listen, I had to make it happen. I've always wanted to do this, like Tyler said. Just let's push iRacing to the limit, and we sure as shit did. Because at some point, it was having to, when I loaded into the session, it was having to load individually each one of the each one of the racers on our team who weren't even there. It just had to load them up on the screen like it was a DSL internet connection trying to load a PNG. It was beautiful. I'm so glad that we did it.
Just popping up the names. But like I said, it was very eventful. The rain, just to add to all this, the rain started with a wet track, the race started with a wet track, even though it wasn't raining. We started on wet tires. The track dried up within 6 or 7 laps, so we had to switch to dries. And that was just in the first 20 minutes of the race. So it was awesome. It was a super cool experience. Everybody seemed to have a really good time, which was the main point of it. We were fairly competitive too. Obviously in 24 hours, it's a long time for wrecks and stuff to happen, and a bunch of different drivers with a bunch of different speed and all different things, but everybody seemed to have a good time. during the normal hours that weren't, 2 a.m., 3 a.m., there were like a minimum of 5 people, 5 team members in the Discord at all times. By the end of it, I think we had 12 people in Discord watching the end of the race. So all things considered, it was awesome. We got to watch a bunch of other cars wreck and spin and crash and watch our own drivers have code browns, if you will, every time the back end would step out going through a corner. But all things
Which
considered,
it did a lot.
Sometimes
Yeah,
the whole
it
car
did.
would step out, Michael.
Yeah, we had a few spins, we had a few crashes, but that's just part of it.
Yeah.
But we had fun.
We were doing well until I lost talent, ran out of talent, and took us out of contention.
Which you need to stop. I'm addressing this right now. You need to have more confidence when you go into these things and stop beating yourself up from lap 1, dadgummit. You went into this already assuming you were going to wreck the car, and I don't like it, Michael. You are a good race car driver.
I did.
I don't care. You are a good race car driver. You're the only one on that team with real race car experience.
Yes, which I will say does not translate. I do not feel a sim car like I felt a real car. Like I can't feel the rear end in a sim car. And I've always kind of said that as far as sim racing goes. And I'm not going to spend the amount of money required to set up motion rigs and all that to try and find that feel again. But that I always found that to be the biggest difference. Is to me, racing was such a whole body sensory experience where you feel the front tires through your hands, you feel your rear tires through your back and your butt, and like you just kind of feel the whole car around you. And I don't have that in a sim race. I just don't feel the car. That's a big part of my problem and why I don't have a ton of confidence in it. I'm not a good sim driver. I don't know where you've got this notion from. I've never finished better than I think 20th in the league.
It's all about confidence, though. It's all about confidence. I'm not.
True.
Why would I have confidence in something that I am not good at?
Belligerent
I know.
Optimism is how I live my life.
Yes, you also have results in sim to back it up.
Not recently.
Well, you used to.
Man, I tried to upload a video of our good buddy Shane in a full motion rig at the Sim Racing Expo in Charlotte, which would be an example of the closest we'll ever get to that full sensory feel of a race car on sim. But
That
the
thing
file's
was
too big.
wild too.
That thing was wild. Yeah,
I've always
file's too big. I can't upload it.
I've always wondered how good the butt kickers work. And for anybody who doesn't know what that means, because I can see now that might sound weird, a butt kicker is essentially a vibration motor that goes underneath your seat, because most sim racers, not most, but a lot of sim racers, as they get more serious about it, use a rig, which is basically an independent chassis with a race car seat attached to it with a wheel and a monitor in front of you, that basically attaches to the bottom of your seat to vibrate when the tires are breaking traction. I think the design is they're supposed to vibrate when it breaks traction in the rear only. I wonder how well those would work.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Obviously,
no
that's
idea.
simulated. It's never going to match the real thing, and it's never going to match like the different feeling when they're just kind of slipping a little bit versus full-blown braking traction. But I've always been curious about those because a lot of people swore by them for a while.
Apparently, I don't know I know it was before me and Michael joined the league. Tyler, I know you were already there. They used to award those to the winner of the season championship in GLR.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
I was not there for that.
I think you were. I think season 4, which was when you and I joined, I think was the last season they did it. Because I remember being there for one season that they did it, and we joined the same time.
Okay.
Well, I'm more in the realms of Michael, or at least what Michael says he is when it comes to oval racing on GLR. I didn't pay attention to the prize they were giving away for a championship because there was no chance I was winning a championship. I am not a good oval racer, competent at best, and that depends on the day, to be frank. But I would like to try one though. I think they'd be cool to give a shot. But I'm kind of the same with you, Michael. As to me, I would need to get better myself before I can justify spending more money on things that are going to make me better as far as a sim goes. I have plenty of money in the wheel and pedals, and if I can't be competitive with that, no amount of peripherals are going to help me.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like I feel, especially a real world sports car, I went out and did Bondurant one year. I don't remember what it's called, but it's basically I did their top level school where we were in Corvette ZR1s, and some of our trainers were like, I did it in like February. So some of our trainers were like off season. No, I did it in December. Sorry. Some of our instructors were like off-season IMSA drivers, right? Like they were professional drivers who they needed a job during the off-season. So they went out to Arizona where it was mildly warm and taught at Bondurant Driving School. And I did a 2-day or 3-day course out there. I don't remember which one. And I just remember like by the last day, I remember I got like such a good feel for the car. And these are mostly street legal Corvettes. I mean, they do some tuning on them for Bondurant to make them, have better endurance, right? Because a street car is not meant to be hammered around a racetrack like a race car all the time.
They sure advertise them like they are.
Yeah. So, by the last day I had such a good feel for it. I could feel the limit of the rear tires when I was, really pushing the edge of grip. Like I found that limit quickly and could feel it in my back of like where I was right on that limit of grip and was really, I think, it's one of those, it's hard to say if an instructor is telling you you're good because they want a good tip and they want you to come back so they keep making money, or if they legitimately were impressed. But, one of the IMSA guys got in a car himself and, I'm sure he wasn't going 100% pace, but I was able to keep up with him going around the track and, was able to follow his lines, watch what he was doing. He was impressed with my lap consistency and braking ability. And, I have a ton of confidence in the real world, probably more than I should, especially in the oval side, considering my actual oval track record. And that's completely flipped in some. I don't feel at all confident getting in those things. And then last night was even worse where, I don't know. I don't know if it was the second stint tires because we were only changing tires every other pit stop. But man, those first handful of laps, the car was doing things that it never did in practice. And that really tanked my confidence for quite a while.
I agree. That car was completely different from how I practice it for sure. I think you had the most incidents. I had the second most. So I can't talk too much shit because I was right there behind you. But it was a lot of fun. Going back to that, it was hilarious there's different levels of competitiveness when you've got 16 people, and I had to back down a lot of people for this. Like guys, there's 16 people. Nobody is expecting to win this thing. But at the same time, we got 16 people to plan for this and like take time out of their day. So, take it seriously and don't wreck the car so that people still have motivation to continue. But Tyler started the race because when we were planning this all out, me and Tyler sat down for like what felt like 45 minutes to plan the entire schedule. Then we had to rework it because apparently we had a variable that was wrong and had to replan the entire thing on the fly. But
which I will say is why I said, "Hey, I'll be back tonight and I'll help figure it out."
Listen,
and then y'all just went rogue without me.
We're preparing you for grandfatherhood way in the future, so you're not one of those grandfathers that just says, "Get out of the way, let me do it."
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta let us learn, let us grow.
Gotta kick them out the nest.
Why? It's a good question.
Why? Do it on your own time.
I will say it would probably help if y'all would ever listen to what I say about doing that spreadsheet.
Well, no, what the problem was we were under the impression that it was going to be 45-minute stints the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was
45
minutes.
a 45-minute fuel run, not a 55.
I will say I did think that as well. I didn't. Yeah, I totally forgot GT3s are roughly an hour.
That was the only thing we messed up. It was just the timing of the stints, and what it was quite a few people actually had very limited availability. 3 of which, or was it 4? 3 or 4 drivers were doing another 24-hour race at the same time with a separate team, so we had to work around that. There were a lot of variables, but either way, I'll let Brittle continue with what he was saying.
Well, we had Tyler start it and our whole mentality was we need to establish ourselves in this race so that the back half of the team doesn't lose motivation and be like, nah, I don't want to show up. Luckily, everybody was a good sport. And I think even if we were 40th, we still would have gotten that car across the finish line with everybody meeting drive time, which is why I love the group that we did it with so much. But Tyler did such a good job starting the race, running double stints, and then got out of the car. And then we had 2 other guys behind him that were probably the best ones on our team. So we started with our three of our 4 strongest drivers. We started the race. And then as soon as we got to the 4th driver, who to his point was not as fast, but still we were happy to have him there. And Tyler messages me and he's like, I know we aren't supposed to take this seriously, but man, I'm kind of sad that I'm just watching this car drop down the leaderboard just a little bit. And I had to back him down. I'm like, Tyler, it's okay, buddy.
And I will say, I didn't convey that at all to any of the drivers. I was very positive and very I really was. I was having a good time. I wanted everybody to have a good time, and we did. It was a success in that sense. But you have to understand, I qualified this car in the rain, which is hard enough as it is, and qualified it in 12th. I myself, between the rain and switching to the drives, drove it to 4th. So the next 2 or 3 people got in. We drove the car up to 2nd, and we're only like maybe half a lap behind P1.
Out of 58 cars, by the way. This was not a small field. 58 teams.
Fully in contention to win this race, right? Like at that point, just based simply on what had happened thus far. And we were much faster than that car in P1. They just did really good. They started on dry tires on a wet track, which was risky, but it paid off really well for them. But then, like Brittle said, we had a slower guy get in, which is, again, perfectly okay. He was self-admitted, said, I'm going to be the slowest guy here, but I promise you this car's coming back in one piece. And it did. And he did his job. But we watched the car go from 2nd to 3rd to 4th. To finish, just slowly dropping down the field. But even after he got out, we kind of started to climb back up a little bit. Like I said, that is honestly, I have been, with Michael and Brittle actually included, we have been on some crazy fast teams. We have been on some endurance teams that are stupid fast. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. Speed is not that big of a factor, believe it or not, with it being a race. It's just about keeping the car clean, because one incident that takes 7 or 8 minutes to repair the car that you're sitting on pit road, you go 2-3 laps down. If one of those teams that passed you during that time is consistent, it doesn't matter if you're a second a lap faster. If they're consistent and don't wreck the car, chances are you're not catching them back up. So again, yeah, it was funny having to kind of, like Brittle said, keep everybody in that kind of medium. Don't be too lazy. Don't treat it like it's not important and not practice and go out there and wreck the car after 2 laps, laugh it off and leave. But also don't get upset when things don't go our way and somebody may be a little slower. We may be falling backwards a little bit. And I think honestly, like Brittle said, I think everybody was having such a good time that even if we had junked the car 20 minutes in, I think we still would have finished that race with everybody driving.
Well, now I hope our number 4 driver doesn't listen to the podcast.
Even if he does. Hi, Ross. We're talking about you.
Yeah. Well, Ross even sent a message, and I'll read this since we've brought up his name now, because I thought it was really nice what he sent, and very true. He said, I gotta find it because I think people have responded.
We were one of only 10 teams that led laps in this. Team Collision Course did in fact lead 3 laps outright.
So Brittle basically sent a message saying P14 after all was said and done. Thanks everybody who participated. Ross responded, said, I loved it. Thank you guys for your patience on my speed, which was not as bad as, it wasn't that bad by any means. I will always be good for doing this again. I can promise a safe, in parentheses, likely slow 1 hour behind the wheel every time. So yeah, it was cool. And what was really cool for a lot of these guys, I think this was kind of an unspoken part. A lot of when you do a 3 or 4 man team, you're committing to 6-8 hours in a car over the course of 24 hours. That's difficult sometimes. That can mean 3 a.m. stints. That can mean having to basically write off 2 days of your weekend on your calendar. This allowed a lot of people that can't always commit that time to get in and do a 24-hour event, because all they have to do is drive for an hour or 2 hours maybe. So it opened the door. I think Ross being one of those people, it opened the door for a lot of these people to be able to compete in a 24-hour race with a group. So I don't think there was anything negative to take away from the entire experience, other than maybe having to fix the schedule.
But that was fun, though. And now I know how to fix a schedule even better in the future. So we're learning. It's a learning experience.
We're going to learn better for it.
Yeah, we definitely need y'all to now figure out. Well, I don't know who was doing it, but I suspect Brittle. Somebody was forgetting to put the penalty time in the penalty times column.
I did it.
I kept having to go back and do that.
There's a penalty times column?
The big red column.
That's it's orange for the record.
No. Is it? Pretty sure it's red.
So I will add a comment, and this is more of a troubleshooting, not during the podcast time that we can sit down and do this. But the GT3 cars, a lot of the repairs happen while you're changing tires and fuel. So it would really add more time than necessary, but I agree with you. It's got to be there.
Actually, if you look at the note, it actually does say put in repair time only if it adds to stop time.
Look at that.
Exactly. One of
right
mine
there.
that I put in was only what it added.
Oh, look at that. It's right there.
Legitimately
Guys,
missed
sounds like
that the
y'all
entire
are
time.
playing D&D, but with cars.
We are. We are.
Brittle
It is
and I
basically
and Michael
cars,
were,
car
yes.
D&D.
The rest of everybody else was just getting in, driving, having a good time. We're sweating like, what lap did we come in? What? How many tires did we do? Yeah.
We have to. There's a minimum drive time for every driver to meet, and obviously, the more drivers you have, the less they have to do. But that's more drivers that have to get in the car, and that was the biggest stressor of this because I've even watched it in real life. IMSA. I think it was Jordan Taylor's team one year at I think Sebring or Daytona, where like they're a professional race team. And they still managed to not have one of their drivers meet minimum drive time. And they were leading the race with like an hour to go. And they had to pit
and had
out
to
of
panic
sequence
and pit.
and ruin the race. So I didn't want that to happen, and it didn't. So that's my huge win from this.
Well,
The next thing I need to teach y'all is what to do when you add a stint, like when y'all added Jackson in the unexpectedly, and then shift the rest of the order. Because I thought I was originally scheduled to get in the car at 10 o'clock, and it turns out it was 11 o'clock. So I was online much too early. Now it was fine. The kids were in bed, and it wasn't a problem. But I was rushing to put the kids to bed because I thought I needed to be online, and I didn't.
So
Go
it
to sleep,
sounds
go to
like
sleep, go to
we
sleep, go to
handled
sleep.
that too. We gave your kids some well-needed rest. Great job, Brittle.
Yep. I see this as an absolute win.
They went to bed at their normal time. That it was me going. It was me looking at my phone, going, "Please go to sleep. Please go to sleep."
Well, Austin,
thank goodness for my mother-in-law who was in town and helping, because she was like, "I'll put Bennett to sleep, and you go sim race.
go play your little video
yeah.
games.
Yeah. Also, before we move too far off it, I do want to give a shout out to Chief,
That's exactly what I was going to do.
is one of our listeners and longtime community members. He joined us for the event as well, along with all of our Great Lakes Racing League teammates. So, Chief, thanks for jumping in and being our 16th man. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, Chief was actually, we were talking about, Chief was the second person to get in the car and did a very good job. But Austin, I uploaded the screenshot to, just so you can kind of see what we're talking about, of the list of names of drivers. It almost, even looking at the screenshot, it looks like so many more than when you say 16. Like, it's just a lot of names of people getting in a race car. Now, Chief did an awesome job. I'm glad he joined us, though. And I'm sure he will be listening to this.
He better be. I have words for him at the 12 hour if he's not.
We talked about it during the race a bit.
That was actually my first interaction with Chief. We had tried for so many, like it's been, I think 3 years that we've been doing endurance racing, and Chief's been trying to get in on one of our teams, and it just hasn't worked out. So I'd never interacted with Chief outside of a text thread until this race.
Chief's a great guy. He's a good sim racer too, and from what I hear, he's a pretty decent real life racer as well.
Yeah, he's picking it up, it sounds like.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's doing that now.
Yeah, he gives me updates every once in a while. Sounds like he's having a good time with it.
I'm glad the race went well for y'all. 15
It
out
was
of
fun, man. It's
that many is incredible.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I will clarify. I clarified it earlier. I will clarify because I don't want people to think we're like on the level of Verstappen sim racing. We were 14th out of 58 in the 7th split, not the top split. So there were, still a significant number of teams who probably did better than us. But just to be in our own split, which the idea of the splits is that it matches you up against what should be equal competition. So to be 14th against 60, or almost 60 other guys who are roughly our ability, yeah. I think that's, it was really good. And to me, it's a little bit of that same kind of camaraderie feel that we have when we do jump space or we're doing our extra life stuff. It's just fun to get a bunch of guys together, pulling a rope in the same direction and having fun. That's my favorite part. The racing part, it's okay. I enjoy sim racing. What I really enjoy is the camaraderie in the group and getting a group of guys together. It's a lot of fun.
Where do you think the phrase pulling a rope in the same direction came from?
Let's look it up.
Tug of war.
Yeah, are you sure though?
No, that's just, you asked what I think, and that's what I said.
Okay, fair enough.
That's probably from when the aliens built the pyramids.
That's what I was thinking.
That's
It's
exactly what I was
It goes
thinking.
back to pyramid pulling blocks. Nah, that's what I think.
Do you have any more crap written down that applies to this situation that you can get taken up? Let me look.
Let me go into the vault. No, nothing that's been weighing on my mind.
It would appear. Well, this is okay. Give me a moment.
I'm seeing.
I'm looking.
Is it actually?
So here's the thing.
I'm
Well, I don't
seeing,
know.
like-
The other ones I got like what is it? Etymology?
Etymology.
Etymology. There you go. I would get like the etymology of the phrase. This one I searched, where did pulling a rope in the same direction originate? And all the results are tug of war explained. Tug of war, the sport.
How do I play tug of war? Like, name a simpler activity that you have to explain.
So I don't know if that's me being right or just the search engine going, surely he means tug of war.
Right.
I'm just gonna say I'm right and it's tug of war. And
I mean, all the main thing I'm seeing is originating from maritime traditions of like basically hoisting heavy sails or hauling heavy cargo by grabbing one long rope. You know.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like that seems almost too generic, though, right?
evidence and historic accounts show that rope pulling contests existed in ancient Egypt, China, India, Greece, and Cambodia, among others.
That was honestly going to be my
Wikipedia.
next search was where did tug of war originate? Like when did we?
I believe that though, because I mean it's very simple. You get a rope.
It is probably the most like base form of team against team.
Yeah.
Or even one-on-one. There's a million different types of tug of war.
Barrier to entry is very low for this game.
And
It would appear they cannot pin it down to a single definitive origin point. Oh, it was
like the Aztecs or something.
Did you find the origin point?
Actually, no.
No, but it was at one point an Olympic game, it looks like.
Nice.
I know it was a thing in the World's Strongest Man competition for a while, which is hilarious to go back and watch, like from the 70s and 80s.
Oh, yeah.
Like this huge guys playing tug of war over in a sand pit over some water.
We did that once.
I was about to say, I think Roundabout.
A pool of
shaving cream.
Yeah, I think Roundabout had one of the tug of wars of all time.
Certainly one of them.
It is definitely one of them.
We could probably revisit that now that I have a flat yard.
There you go. Now we're talking. Write that down.
You're
Write
gonna
that
stick
down.
me and Nick, the two guys with knee problems, together again?
Yes.
Against me and
Whose
Dano,
knee
please.
gives
Or
out
me and Brittle.
first?
Why did we do that? There was a reason.
I don't know.
We had a reason, I feel like.
We thought about
tug of
it
war?
like during it. And it's like, oh yeah, you got the two guys with knee problems on the same team. This will go well.
I think y'all basically just, and this was purely based on looks and nothing else, assumed Dano and Austin were the two strongest.
Yeah, must be by looks because fuck that. I don't know where you got that from.
Here's just a little picture of the world's strongest men playing tug of war, which is very funny.
Like that is sport as God intended.
I bet it was a riveting tug of war match, though. Do you call it a match? A bout? What is it?
Round? I don't know.
Ooh, I don't know.
Rousing round of tug of war.
A rousing round.
a
I
good
don't care
old
what you call it.
tug.
That's what we're calling it. Maybe wouldn't say that way.
Why?
Well, no reason. I gotta stop telling Austin not to say things a certain way because then he makes me explain it, which is much worse than it just being said.
Speaking of bouts or matches, how about the disappointment that was the UFC event last night? First one I've watched in a very long time, and it was only because I was online entirely too early for sim racing. But that was, well, I say one of them was disappointing. It lasted, 43 seconds? And the other one was disappointing because there were no hits landed, and they called it for medical reasons because McGregor blew out his knee.
I was gonna ask,
Again?
what happened with McGregor? So I didn't watch it. I went to bed because I had been on since like 8 a.m. With iRacing stuff. But I heard some people talking about it earlier, but I didn't really get a full picture of what happened. What did happen with McGregor?
I
was in the car, so I'll let Brittle
He
explain
threw
it.
a spin kick, and his knee gave out when he landed. And after that, it was like it took maybe another 5 seconds, and the ref was like, no. Because he stumbled, he had another stumble immediately after that. And it was like, nope, we're calling this right now. Because he could barely stand on that thing, which, I mean.
Who's he fighting? What was that guy's name?
Max Holloway.
Holloway didn't even try. Like he saw his knee give out on the jump kick and was like, all right, done.
Yep.
And like didn't try to press an advantage, just like stood back, let the ref take another look, and like there were quite literally no blows landed in the title card.
It's a good paycheck.
It was apparently I heard somebody saying it was one of the largest purses for a fight night.
It was the largest purse payout in UFC history. And the co-main and the main lasted less than a minute combined.
I mean, I think it was a little over a minute combined because I think the
Sure
official
didn't
times
feel
were,
like
I think the official times were 30, I think it was 34 seconds for the McGregor fight. And I think I heard it was 53 seconds for, I don't remember who was in that other one, but that one was actually a skillful like pin.
Yeah, Patty Pimblett,
tap out.
Yeah, that was a cool one to watch. I hadn't seen a submission victory in a while, so that was cool to see. Especially a guy who looks like Patty Pimblett, just wiry little kid. Please don't kill me.
But yeah, we were talking about it. That's 100% the reason why I don't watch anymore, because I have no appetite for like staying up late or throwing a party or whatever for a fight that's going to be over in 45 seconds.
Yeah, that was the funniest part.
Done it too many times.
Shane was supposed to be hosting a watch party or something, and then the last two matches happened. It's like, man, Shane didn't do a thing tonight.
No. And he was even talking about he was at a Pittsburgh Pirates doubleheader, and he was talking about did he need to leave early to go do this fight night? And I think he had it ended up staying for the majority of both games. And I think I would suspect, I haven't asked him, but I would suspect he's glad he did, because yeah, the fight, at least again, the headliner cards were non-existent.
Suboptimal at best.
At least one of them was a skillful tap out, but still, for a skillful tap out to happen in the first minute, it's cool, but it's also like, oh, well, now that's over. Now what?
Yeah, there's no fight after that.
What's funny to me is literally before, so I was still in the Discord with all the like prelim fights and everything going on, and I'd made the comment of, it's just never been my sport. I've never had much of an interest in watching UFC, and I said that, and Michael said, I used to watch it, but exactly what he just said, I got tired of staying up super late, waiting for a big fight, and then it's over in 40 seconds, which Michael did say is part of the sport. But it's just funny to me that he said that before this fight, and then he just got the worst version possible of that exact scenario.
Yeah. Thankfully, like I said, I was in the car and I wasn't watching it, but no, sorry. I had just gotten out of the car. Elliot had just got in the car.
Yeah, Elliot had stayed up. He wanted to watch the Patty Pimblett fight, and he got to, but then he got in for the McGregor fight and it was over. It was like, well, you didn't miss much, bud.
And what's funny is he wasn't even supposed to be in the car for it. It was only because I wrecked in like the 48th minute of my stint. And we decided that we should just go ahead and do the driver change then. If I hadn't wrecked it, he'd have gotten to watch the entire fight before he got in the car.
Right? There was a race between between you getting out of the car and between the UFC cards finishing, and neither
Right.
one wanted to go the distance.
Right. Oh, I felt so bad. But then I didn't feel as bad. Like I said, I didn't watch it in the Discord. I was in my own head at that point, but yeah, I was like, oh, I'm glad he was in the car and didn't get to watch that, because he was so hyped to get to watch it. And then it was such a disappointment. I was like, okay, maybe I saved Elliot from just a night of depression.
I think the only people who would be more disappointed would be the people who paid $1,000 to get in that event. Minimum ticket prices were north of $1,000. And those are your two mains.
Well, if you would have waited a little longer to crash the car, like while it was happening, maybe nobody would have noticed. They would have just been like, oh, McGregor, oh no. And you're just like, yeah, keep looking at that. Let me get this thing back in real quick.
Tow time is 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, it took me longer to tow back to the pits than it took McGregor to lose.
That's awful.
Oh, my audio recording is just going to be me laughing for most of this. This is going to be funny.
That's okay. That's what we're here for. We're here to laugh. Catharsis.
Speaking of just like events that just don't live up to expectations, and I obviously going to date this episode because I think we already said how we recorded this on a Sunday, but the Norway England game.
I mean, dude, we've been talking about last night's fight and last night's sim race.
I don't know why
I've given up on us. I know. I've given up on us trying not to date these. That's part of what we do. We talk about our life, and hey, we're recording this at 9:22 p.m. on Sunday, July 12th. There we go. We've dated it as precisely as we can.
This podcast is just us in our younger forms sitting on a front porch in rocking chairs, just talking about things. Like, old men who do that on porches don't talk about things that happened. You know, they don't talk about last week's weather. They talk about the weather right now. Storm's coming. Knees acting up.
It is storming here, actually.
It's raining outside here, too. I'm surprised you can't hear it.
Oh, no, it's finally moved off. All right.
No, we're all going to be old men sitting down talking on a porch and say something about something that happened last week and be like, no, Michael doesn't want us to talk about dates.
Don't say the date.
Which is funny that y'all are all about that, because I don't think I have pushed for that since like the second
You
episode
have
we
it, but
recorded.
we're all still cautious of it. But I think we just kind of give that away. Which I think when you originally said that, we didn't know what the delay was going to look like between each of these episodes and actually getting released. And you've done just such a bang up job of getting them all out so quickly that it is a non-issue now.
I don't know if I call it a week quickly, but
I'd say it's because we intentionally had like 2 or 3 of these things loaded in the chamber, and then it was just like that quickly ended. Not even a month into recording.
We probably are going to need to do that soon.
Load them back
double at some point soon.
A week
we are 18 days from Extra Life.
Oh yeah. A week I feel like is long enough though that if like we do spoil something for somebody, it was their fault. You know, like you should have seen that by now.
Anyway, back to this
not
Norway and England game, because Austin really wanted to talk about this. My favorite part of this one of the things that I really like about this World Cup is that the the apparent ownership of the of the media property that is Hatsune Miku, because Brazil eliminated Japan, and so now they claim ownership over Hatsune Miku, and then Norway beat Brazil, so then now she's a property of Norway, and then Norway beat England, so now once again history repeating itself, a Japanese property is now under English control.
I was supposed to say England beat Norway. You said Norway beat England.
No, Norway beat Brazil. Norway beat Brazil.
Yeah,
I got ahead of myself.
Yeah, your mouth got ahead of your brain there, but I think we all knew what you meant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Except Tyler.
My thing is, because I heard about this, and I don't remember, did we talk about this or not, about the sensors in the ball?
I don't know if we've talked about it on a podcast.
Not recording, but I assume you're talking about the cable thing, right?
I'm talking about the ball itself.
Yeah, there's sensors embedded in the ball.
Yeah.
There are now sensors embedded in the soccer ball, which I don't remember them having 4 years ago in the World Cup.
They had some of it, but they've certainly expanded what they have now.
Yeah, but how like they're not as reliable as we think they are, because there was one goal, and I don't remember which team it was. It's been a week or so, that it might have been Egypt, but I could be wrong. Got eliminated because they had a goal disallowed because one of their players had kicked the ball to a teammate. One of their teammates went to go touch it, but like barely missed, and it like went through their hair. And then they had a teammate on the back end who then touched the ball, but the sensors in the ball registered the hair of the player, so it counted as another touch. So then the player was offsides. Whereas if it was just the kick to the player, he would have been considered onside, which is insane to me that those sensors are that sensitive that it could detect the hair follicles of this man. But then, like I was saying, the Norway-England game on review, they're like, there was no sensor issue with the cable, but it's like we can see it hit the cable. Like it's noticeable how it changed course. And they're like, yeah, but there's no sensor, and they don't disallow that goal. But they're just like, you're just keeping that goal.
You're talking about the Portugal-Croatia game. Brittle and I were losing our minds in Discord when that happened, especially after they said it did touch. Now, Brittle was a little biased, I believe, because I think he had some money on Portugal winning. But I remember
you don't say
exactly which one you were talking about, and that guy did not touch that ball. They said it sped up. That's how they knew he touched it. There was a different angle that they didn't show right then, but they had shown it earlier, like before they started doing the review process from the side, and it very clearly he did not touch the ball. So yeah, I know. I remember what you're talking about. I knew the sensors in the ball were a thing as far as like the World Cup and the Premier League goes. Like the NFL's been using sensors in footballs for a long time, but I knew that was a thing. But I didn't realize that like they used it in decisions like that. I thought it was primarily for positioning as far as like goal line technology and balls going out and stuff like that, or not crossing the line, whatever it may be. I didn't realize it was a speed sensor. And they showed a little graph on the screen of like the speed of the ball, like going up like half a notch or something like that. But
I think what it is it's not speed, it's an accelerometer. So it was a change in. Yeah, so that's and to what Austin was talking about, not remembering they had it 4 years ago. They had the positioning thing 4 years ago, where they could tell if the ball fully crossed the goal line or not, or the touch line. But they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have the accelerometer chips, as best I remember back then. That is new for this cup.
Yeah,
and that's like the goals. The goal sensor, I'm all about. That makes sense to me. My issue with like all of this is, like, just the way this World Cup has gone, it's not feeling like soccer or football anymore. Like, they're reviewing every play. The water breaks you can take
viewing
here and
penalties
there.
Now even.
Just, you have so many breaks that the flow of the game is not there anymore. And it's just, it feels weird. Like, it feels off. Like, I feel like I'm watching American football take over soccer.
Yeah, it is weird, right? Because I think it wouldn't be such a big deal, except that it still highlights the fact that even with this technology, the decision making behind it is still massively inconsistent.
Right.
And that's where then the technology makes it feel like it's even worse, because it has now disrupted the pace of play to make questionable decisions instead of just letting the questionable decisions happen live on the pitch.
Right.
And so it's like, hey, these things that are supposed to be fixing the bad decision making aren't actually helping. They just are disrupting it more, right? It's almost the opposite problem of what baseball's having, where like, the baseball challenge system, you're at least not seeing, if there are inaccuracies with their measurement system, you're not seeing it. You're not seeing like, oh, that should have been called a strike. And like, in spite of what they're seeing on the video, they still called it a ball. So like baseball, I think that's one where the system was well thought out. It was tested in a lower environment in the minors and proved out well, and then brought to the big leagues. Versus this feels like they're doing their trials and testing of this live in the biggest event in football. So, it's going the wrong direction, right? Like I said, like baseball has introduced a small amount of technology, and it is, I think, and I know there's probably some out there who don't because they're purists, but I think the ABS system has helped baseball. I think VAR and all these sensors they're taking soccer the wrong direction, because the inconsistencies are still happening. You are not fixing the inconsistencies, which is what baseball has done. Baseball has implemented a system that still has a tactical element to it of you only have so many challenges, and if you get it wrong twice, you're out. But it's smoothing over that inconsistency that we all knew, which was that because of the way the game is played, umpires, and I really believe, like, I know there's some umpires who can call a perfect game, and we've seen them at times, but I think it's like that, like NBA officiating, the sports have sped up to a degree so much that the people judging it can't keep up. And, like I said, we see it with baseball, with umpires. We see it in basketball with decision-making, soccer with decision-making on field. The sports are played at such a pace these days that the people officiating it can't keep up. And so that's where I do believe like an element of technology is good, but it can't continue the inconsistent decision-making. It's supposed to help the inconsistent decision-making and improve and smooth that over. And that's where soccer's getting it wrong. They're not. It's creating more debate, not less. And that's where I think they're doing it wrong.
Well, and if it did solve any issues, it replaced those with many more at this point, right? And to your point about the speed of it, especially soccer, right? Because these guys are insanely athletic, just like every other sport. Pitchers can throw the ball harder, and NFL players can run faster, and all these different. Basically, just people keep getting better at sports. And with soccer, though, with so many of the calls, such as fouls, being pretty subjective, right? Because while there are pretty clear-cut rules, the severity, the situation of a lot of these fouls can impact a call, right? You see it all the time. Tackles that would get called as a foul at midfield every time, that same tackle might not get called in the box because the implication of calling that foul is so much more severe, right? My biggest gripe with it is the one big thing that slowing everything down and seeing it in slow motion has caused, it makes every foul look infinitely worse. You take any tackle, as far as soccer goes or European football goes, right? Any tackle that happens, even the small ones that don't even get looked at twice, and you slow-mo it, it all of a sudden looks awful. The one the U.S. player got the red card for, the one the England player got the red card for, those don't look like bad tackles in real time. Both of those were not even called fouls at the time. Like, the referee said play on, then they go back and give red cards for those. That is only because you watch that tackle in slow motion. Now it looks infinitely worse. That's my biggest gripe of the whole system.
I agree.
I'm all for goal line technology. Like, let's know for sure if the ball crossed the line or it didn't, because there were a lot of World Cup specifically games that had issues with that. I'm all for stuff like that. I'm all for going back and reviewing tackles in the box to make sure that they were genuine tackles and that a penalty is going to get awarded correctly. There should never be a situation where a foul doesn't get called on the field and then we go back and go to the extreme opposite and give a red card and that person's off for that game and the next game. It's similar to hockey. Hockey has a like a almost not quite an equivalent, but a similar thing to that, where basically if a penalty gets called and it's just a 2-minute, so a minor versus a major, and then they go back and review it, the only thing they can do is take it away. They can't then turn it into a major. They can't make the penalty worse after a review, if that makes sense. So if it's like a boarding and the referee said, okay, that's a 2-minute penalty, they can't go watch the review and then say, oh, that was actually a really bad hit. Now that we've watched it in slow-mo, it's now a 5-minute penalty. The only thing they can do is say, actually, that wasn't a penalty at all. It's gone. I think soccer could use something like that, if they're going to maintain this system of going back and reviewing every foul that happens, or non-fouls for that matter. Because when do they decide when to review it and when not to? There were 100 corners or goal kicks that didn't get called for one team that should have. They don't look at those. So when do they decide what we're going to go look at and what we aren't?
When it fits the narrative.
And I'm usually never one to fall into that trap of, oh, well, they're trying to get Argentina to win, or this is fixed, or they want. I usually am never one to fall into that if sports are rigged, even though I'm turned it into the minority, and it's probably more true than I would ever want to admit. But that is honestly the most believable thing with some of the calls I've seen. Even take away the video stuff, the officiating in this entire tournament has been abysmal. It's been so bad. But honest to God, if we get off on this too much, it'll be a 2-hour episode. So don't get me started. Maybe next week.
No, I agree. Like, it's hard to watch because, you know, me growing up playing soccer the way I did and watching soccer, knowing like the history of it and just how the game has historically been played. This whole World Cup, as much as I want to love it, has felt like it. I don't know. It feels like a different game almost. Like, yeah, there are the moments that are like big and grand and that's awesome and it's great to see. But it's just like at the same time, I'm watching a lot of it and just being like, where's the game? Like, can we just get back to playing soccer? Because it just feels like I'm not watching the game how I'm used to watching it played. Because it's like, all right, well, we're going off for review. Oh, we got to take a water break. Oh, we got to do this. And it's just like, like I said, it feels like we're running plays between breaks versus watching 24 men run out on a field and play for 45 minutes, taking a 15-minute break and doing it again. Like the flow just feels weird now to me.
I think you're right. And I'm genuinely curious if the hydration breaks will stick around or if that was strictly a giant US broadcasting companies want extra advertisement time.
I'm sure you could come up with a lot. I mean, yes, we are in a historic heat wave across the country, which I find funny just living in Texas, because I made the comment actually a week ago about this, that is like we haven't even hit triple digits in Texas yet, which is rare. Like by this point, we've hit triple digits and we're in it for like a week or two. We haven't, and everyone's complaining about a heat wave, but that's we can get geographical as much as we want. But
where were the hydration breaks in 2014 when they played in Brazil on the
2022
equator?
when they played in Qatar?
True.
Where were the
desert.
hydration breaks?
F1 runs that race at night because it's too hot for the drivers in the day. I mean, it's not like we've not gone to hot places before.
It's true.
It's all money driven.
So
the customizable advertising boards with the overlays wasn't enough. We had to get more commercial time in. That's all it was. I'll be the naysayer. I don't care. I hate it.
I'm with you. Maybe we're just angry because the U.S. botched it versus Belgium, but we already talked about that last week.
They could have been in. They
I
could have
don't
been
know. I
knocked
mean,
out
I
in the
think-
group stage, and I'd still be on this topic. That's what I was going to say. 100%
That's
advertising.
more. Yeah, that's more the viewing experience than any particular team being knocked out. But before let's get off our soapbox, Austin. Let's wrap this up.
Let's go France. Woo!
Woo! I would
I don't
not
even know
see
who's
Spain
left.
go all the way.
France, England, what?
I want France to win, but
I
that's
really
just
hope
me.
it's England. I want it to come home.
It's Spain and France.
It'd be
versus
nice to
England
hear him
and
shut up
or
about it
England
eventually.
and Argentina. I don't see anybody topping France, though. They're too good.
I want Mbappe to win a World Cup. He's just, I think he's one of the greatest players to ever play the sport.
He is goated for sure. Like it's hard to argue that.
But let us know in the comments or on any of our social medias who you have. This episode will come out the day after the World Cup ends, so probably gonna be hard to predict anything. But let's just tell us who you had.
Oh, we should have.
Yeah, we should have done a lot of things, right?
I don't have time this week, but we should have done a prediction video.
We should have done
But
a
I don't
World
have-
Cup prediction
I don't
video.
have time to edit it.
What?
Problem
Okay, hold
is
on.
we would have to do it on like a Thursday because we're not going to know who's
Yeah.
in it until
We're
then.
not going to know. We're going to have
I know,
2
and that's
days
what I'm
to
saying.
film it.
Yep.
I don't have the time this week to film
make
it
it our
and turn it
stream
around
Friday.
in 2 days.
That'll be our Friday stream as a prediction video.
FC26
maybe.
is on Game Pass.
We can make this happen.
Okay.
I
Okay.
will love
Okay.
to play, but it might be unfair because I will probably beat any of you handedly.
Well, what if we made it 3-on-1?
That's gonna make
Might
it
not
worse.
have a
That'll
chance.
It's gonna
that'll
make it worse.
worse. That means we're going to have
It probably
3
would make it
idiots
worse
running
for y'all.
around.
We could do 2-on-2.
No,
though.
that was my point. Maybe we put 2 of us on Tyler's team, and we have to actively work
I have
against
to work
them.
with you guys. Yeah, we could
We
do
have to
2-on-2. That might be
sabotage.
fun.
could do 2-on-2. But we'll figure
Okay,
that
we'll think
out.
about it.
We'll figure that out. We've got
By the time
a
y'all
few
hear this,
days.
we'll have already done it, or
Yeah,
we
we will
didn't.
have
I
made
don't know.
that
didn't.
decision.
Just do Rocket League instead.
Let us know
Exactly.
your thoughts on the World Cup. Let us know if you have any interesting phrases that you find a really fun origin to that you just have loaded in your brain. Because I know I've had a few, but also go and congrats these guys on let them know how well they did in their race. That's awesome. 24 hours to me is insane to have 16 people trading out over 24 hours is insane to me. And we're in our 30s, so that's incredible. But
The only thing crazier is 5 of us doing it for 24 hours straight. every
That's
day.
Also
We don't get
different.
any sleep.
that's different. I don't want to have to wake up at 3 a.m. to go drive. I'm already awake.
No, it's true. That's true.
It's
There's something to
completely
that.
different.
Well, and if us at 4 a.m. during
trying
Extra Life got in that car, it would be
to-
dead. The car would be crashed.
I'll do it next time. Put me at 2 a.m. and I'll race for you guys. And that way, whoever
Bet.
has to do it in the morning doesn't have to do it anymore.
Yeah,
That makes
come on.
planning so much easier. You have no idea.
But please reach out to us on Instagram and Facebook, which is Roundabout Pro, YouTube, Twitter, and Blue Sky, Roundabout Gaming, and catch us on Fridays on Twitch, which is Roundabout Pro. Once again, YouTube, Roundabout Gaming, and we stream on Instagram as well at Roundabout Pro. Please come by, talk to us, chat with us, comment, like, subscribe, share, 5 stars, ring that bell, do all the things. We really appreciate y'all, and we will see you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
I like how he waits now.
He
Yeah.
does.
You gotta wait.
Us
Gotta
there.
wait for the clean air.
Exactly. Got to get my. I
think
got to get my stage presence on. Also, I just
Get a
love
clean
Usually-
take of it.
It's pretty
making Austin wait
consistent
longer
order.
to end this thing.
As I say, it's usually Alston says his piece, I say goodbye, Michael says his bye, and then Brittle comes in last.
Bye.
He's our closer.
It's his ego.